Yo, what up, y'all? Source, of course, back in the building for another album review. Let's see, who's next? Go, go, go. All right, sorry, I had to get that off. All right, so next up we have Conway the Machine. He dropped his latest project on February 25th entitled God Don't Make Mistakes. Part of the Griselda family. Shout out to Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, etc., etc. Conway was probably the biggest name first, the first name that was recognizable out of the crew. And let's get into this latest project. So, God Don't Make Mistakes. I'll say this off top. Conway actually did something that I commend. I don't know if I necessarily like it for Conway, though. Conway dug a little deeper on multiple tracks on this album. And you know, if you know me at all, you know I like when people dig deep, get personal, and, you know, try to resolve their feelings or at least express their feelings through song. I don't know if I love it for Conway, because I feel like to me, it feels a little forced. Nevertheless, this album is dope. I should have started there saying the album is dope. Anyway, let's get into it. Off top. And also, I did not look at the track listing before I listened to this album. I just put it on, let it rock, heard different voices, and I was like, yo, I had no idea that blah, blah, blah was on this joint. Including track 1, Lock Load, featuring Beanie Siegel. I heard, after listening to this, I heard multiple people say, yo, Beanie and Conway need to do a joint together. And I can get behind that. I can definitely get behind that idea. Dope joint to lead off the album. Next up, more star power. We got Tear Gas with Rick Ross and Lil Wayne. I really like this joint as far as Conway and Rick Ross. Weezy's verse is, you know, not my favorite Lil Wayne, not my favorite flow from Lil Wayne, but, you know, I'm sure there's somebody out there that loves it. It's a dope song regardless. And whether you like Rick Ross or not, Rick Ross on a beat usually sounds good. Regardless if you like his content, it doesn't matter. The voice on the beat is always a solid sound, a good sound. So shout out to Rick Ross. And also, just a side note, Rick Ross is the best beat picker in hip hop. Yeah, I think that's a given for some people, but yeah, best beat picker in hip hop. Piano Love was next, produced by Alchemist. You already know what you're gonna get there. Dopeness from Alchemist. Oh, shout out to Derringer. And, well, I'll get to Hit Boy in a second. We had Drum Work before Wild Chapter. So Drum Work featuring, I don't know what her name is. I'm going 7 to Genius. She said in the verse, she don't care how you pronounce her name. So if I'm wrong, forgive me. 7 to Genius and Jay Skis. That joint is hard. You're always going to get bars and punchlines from Conway, but I really like 7's approach to the track as well. Next up, Wild Chapters. Hit Boy got busy. Shout out to Hit Boy, who I don't know how much a lot of people knew about Hit Boy before Nas, but since Nas, Hit Boy has been a popular name in producer circles, and this joint is proof of that. And, you know, he showed out as usual. Featuring T.I. Novels on the joint too, but specifically featuring T.I. I mention that because the guest appearances on here are heavy. It's heavy, and it was off the top. So that's 1, 2, 3. We're on the track 5, and you've got guest appearances on 4 joints. It still feels like Conway's project to me, but it's a lot of guest appearances. I like it. I like it myself. You got Guilty after that. That's a cool joint. John Woo Flick, where we get the Griselda fam back together. Benny the Butcher does his regular, and West Side Gun. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. You know, Benny is mentioned in songs that he is the star. Conway was the entryway to Griselda being in the hip hop atmosphere. Westside Gunn is my favorite though. In my opinion, he's the least lyrical and the most entertaining. I like listening to Westside Gunn. He entertains me. So shout out to Westside Gunn. Here's where we get into the Conway going beneath the surface. Does anybody care that I'm stressed? Featuring Wallow. Shout out to Wallow also. For somebody that served so much time, and as Gilly always mentions, didn't tell on nobody, just sat down, did his time. Wallow is a funny, like silly, doesn't mind being silly type dude who can also be serious and is also trying to be a motivating factor for people who need that motivation. So shout out to Wallow. I like what he is doing, and I think he's a cool dude for real. More depth from Conway and so much more. Produced by Justice League. Cool joint. Again, I have to give credit to my man Docs. He said this verbally, and I just happen to agree with it. I appreciate Conway when he goes beneath the surface, but if he never went beneath the surface and just gave me straight surface bars forever, I'd be fine with that. No, I'd be fine with that. Here we go. We're getting to the near the end of the album. Chanel Pearls. Chanel Pearls. Y'all hear Jill Scott busting on this joint? Yo, first I want to know how this combination got together. How did Conway and Jill Scott decide to get together on a song and Jill Scott actually rhyme on it? That is crazy. After all these years, we're hearing Jill Scott with the bars. She's a poet, so we know she can rhyme. It's not a question of that. But to hear her actually go in on a joint, I love Jill Scott and I love to see it. So shout out to Jilly from Philly. I don't want to mispronounce Babas. Babas, is that right? Featuring Keisha Plum. Cool joint, no complaints. And then to close it out, we had another deeper song, God Don't Make Mistakes, which is the title track. Conway gets into the night of him getting shot. Yeah. Small complaint. I think the hook could have been crazier. I think the hook could have been better, and it would have made the song crazier. But the content of the song is dope, and I appreciate the content and the appearance by what I assume is Conway's mom on the joint. It's a dope joint. Altogether, after my first listen, I was like, it's all right. It's an okay joint. But when I listened the second time and listened a little bit closer, I felt that it was a solid project from Conway. Shout out to him. And yeah, you know it's going to be more. You know this ain't it. Conway will be back in a couple seconds with another joint. And I'll be here to review that. Most likely. My intention with this review thing was to do older albums. But it's so many new joints that I've listened to in the last month that I had to at least get a couple of these off first. So this is another one. Salute to Conway. Solid album. God Don't Make Mistakes. Check that out if you haven't checked it out already. Source. Out here.